Hey, welcome back, guys. This is the MachineLoveUs.com tutorial about analyzing YouTube data. Last time we got to the point where we had our API key, we had all of the things that were necessary to output when a search term comes through, all of the video and its stats. So you can see that right here. We have the view count, like count, dislike count, favorite count, comment count, and I threw the title right in there for each video. So that's where we left off. And now in this video, what we are going to do is going to be send this data to Bokeh and visualize it in a scatter plot. So we're going to be using all the latest and greatest Bokeh version 1.0.1. We have Python 3.6.3 here. So let's get started. And just a note, I updated my terminal. I'm using Bob the Fish in Fish Shell, but everything else is the same. I have our tube analysis virtual environment here. So why don't we get started? Now, what I've done already here is just update this code than what you saw before. Instead of having what we previously had, which was passing the args from the input, I'm putting two into our function signature here. Two parameters. Let me add a doc string. Right, so args is going to be let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Search term, which is a string. Write the term to search on. And max results, int, number of results to return. And we want to think about what this function is actually going to return. And what I've updated it to returning is a list of dictionaries. Okay, so we are going to return a list, and the list is going to be what I'm calling output. Now let me bring this up here. Things have shifted around slightly. But what I'm doing essentially is I'm going to return a list of dictionaries that we can use essentially as our as inputs to make a data frame. And the data frame will be really useful in plotting. The data frame will be really useful to plot with Bokeh or any other visualization thing that you want to do. So we just have the setup essentially here, and to this setup I'm going to add the URL that we put here, because this is essentially a constant, and you can see I'm just refactoring this code as we go through it. See, parameters doesn't need to be this kind of dictionary anymore. We just need the statistics, and the key. We do need the key. Okay, because we're going to need to pass that in. The YouTube object here is still there. Okay, and so this is a little confusing. Developer key, Google key. So why don't we say that's developer key? Okay. This search response is fine. So instead of returning all of this stuff, why don't we just instead return, we're going to get rid of some of these lists that are being built. This snippet had a bunch of lists being iterated through, and that's kind of just confusing. I'm just interested in channels. In videos, I'm not interested in channels. Okay, and we don't need videos anymore. Apologies for that. We don't need videos. Okay, so 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if the 2, 3, 4. Okay, if the if the search result has a video in it, we are going to append to this video's ID the title and ID of the video. Now, actually, we can refactor this further. What I've done here is we get the video's ID, and then we were returning that in the previous video. But instead, see, I'm just going through and refactoring this as we go to make this more clear. If the search result is video, then what we want to do is we can get all of the information about that. Well, we get it after the fact. Let me just see here. We might be able to save time later on, but I'm not going to mess with it now. I think there will be time to refactor this into one loop instead of two loops, but we'll just deal with it for the moment. So what we have, let's break this out so you can see what's going on a little bit clearer. This video's ID list, and why don't we just call it videos, just to make things clearer here. Okay, so the dictionary that we're gonna append here, that we're gonna save, is gonna have the title from the search result of the video and the ID. Okay, and we're gonna append that to this videos dictionary, and then we're gonna iterate through it, grab the ID out of there, and pass these parameters that we built up here, right, back in, so we get that specific videos statistic. So the flow is that we have queried YouTube for sets of videos and grabbed the IDs and titles of those videos that we want to look into, and then we iterate over those videos and we get their information, we get their stats. Okay, and then we append to output what will actually return the statistics of the videos that we're interested in. Okay, so what does this get us? It doesn't get us, we're still in the same place from before, where if we search on Python, and maybe we want to search on something different, we still get, now we get a list of these dictionaries of things. Okay, so what this actually gets us is something nice. It gets us output that we can use in a Jupyter notebook to get a data frame to then visualize it. So what I'm going to do here is you will need to pip install some things. Go ahead and pip install pandas. You can see I'm doing that down below. Let me do it up here. I'm going to pip install Jupyter. I already pip installed it, so it'll just say everything's cool. And then why don't you go ahead and start Jupyter, and you do that just by saying Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and then it should pop right up for you. If it doesn't, you might have to go to localhost 888 and follow this token. Okay, and so start a new Python 3 notebook. Okay, and then we're going to import some things. We're going to import pandas as PD. You might have to install NumPy, but import that. And then let's import core, which we're starting this from the directory of where that script lives, so we should have it. Now let's grab the output again. Let me zoom in for you. And how about I search on data science instead of Python and see what we get. Okay, and what we can actually do is take this and make a data frame from that output. And you could see what this output actually was. It's going to be some dictionaries, a list of dictionaries, right? So if we just take a look at the first two results, we could see what really is data science told by a data scientist, learn data science in 3 months, all of that jazz. Okay, but now we have some information: comment count, dislike count, favorite count, like count, title, view count. And these look like they are strings and not what we need, which is floats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them into likes, which will just be PD. 2 numeric will help get us into we'll cast these strings as floats, which is what we need to make them into a scatter plot. So I'm going to plot likes and views, okay, which might not be as interesting to you. There'll be other days when we will take a look at different kinds of data. Okay, so now if I do df.describe, okay, we have 43 total videos in this data set. I think the 50, I had a default of 50, but I suppose we can only get 43 or 45 at a time. And they range from a minimum of 13 likes and 1,300 views to 500,000 views, which is great to see. Okay, so why don't we create a visualization now? Okay, we're going to need to import some things from Bokeh, and these are the things that we're going to need. Okay, so we have the main import. We have grid plot. Actually, we don't need grid plot at this time. Column data source. Okay, so this is important. Okay, so this is actually for our data. Figure and show are important. Output notebook will be to plot chart inline in Jupyter. Okay, so we don't have to go somewhere else to look at it. So actually we just need to do output notebook here, and we get to see that Bokeh JS 1.0.1 is successfully loaded. So what we can do now is start plotting. Okay, so what we're going to actually do is we're going to need a data source, and we can get that by passing our data frame that we constructed to column data source, and this will give us the data source that Bokeh wants. Okay, and so what I pasted here, what I put here is P is going to be our figure, plot, P for plot, and then add a circle. This all comes from essentially the default kind of the default snippets you get from Bokeh. And we don't have log views and log likes. I haven't turned them into log yet. So why don't we just take a look at what this looks like. It looks like a mess of data points. But what I previewed there is actually what I want to do is turn those likes and views into log likes and log views, just because the scale of the different views are so tremendous. Turning them into a log will put more things on equal footing and sort of account for these wide variations that we have. Okay, and now we get something that's a little neater. Let me back out a little bit here and shows the relationship between views on the x-axis and likes on the y-axis. Okay, I think I can do x label. It's going to be views. Can I do that? No, cannot do that. What do I need to do? Luckily, it's all printed out here, so X label. So what do we do? Okay, so I found a snippet on Stack Overflow, luckily. So on P, we do views is going to be our X. It's actually log. So why don't we just say that? Okay, great. Looking good, looking good. What would be nice, though, is tooltips for hovering over to see the title and other information of this, which we can thankfully add really easily to the plot with Bokeh. Okay, so what I've put in here is the title, likes, and views. And then on the figure itself, I just say tooltips is going to equal tooltips. And this should, and it works. Great. So look at this. By the way, the size is the size of the point. The color, I just pick the color that I normally use for some of the comics and things like that. Alpha is the transparency of the points on the scatter plot, and source is the column data source that we used above. Okay, so there you go. We have here the top likes and views, data science, reality versus expectations, 100K salary, starting salary 2018, most viewed, predicting stock prices. Maybe I should do some videos on predicting stock prices. You really can't do that. But anyway, what is really data scientist told by a data scientist? Okay, and then here down at the bottom are data science masters worth it. So you can just see the relationship between views and likes. Looks pretty linear, log linear. And so this is it. We'll be using in future videos. We will take this and we will turn it into a reporting system for our YouTube data analysis that we're building. So tune back in, subscribe, like, it's all appreciated. Visit machinelovus.com and leave your comments down below. I appreciate you guys checking in. All right, take care.